Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to 3302. This is where I take a look at the news and happenings in and around Elite Dangerous. Today is a bit of a special edition. I'm going to take a look at the content revealed at Elite Meet, and that includes strange organic structures on the planets, as well as what look to be settlements. We got to see an update on the progress of the Commander creator, and there was some rather interesting questions answered at the Q&A session. Beta 2.2 is well underway now, with a load of videos and news dotted all around the internet. I'll get to some of that a bit later in the video, but for now I want to make this a bit of a special edition of 3302 and talk about the Elite Meet that went down in Birmingham, UK, Saturday evening. There were a few things that were shown and talked about that haven't yet been shown outside of the meet, so let's get to it and have a look. First though, I just want to say it was absolutely fantastic getting the chance to meet some of my subscribers. So thank you to everyone who came over and had a talk with me, and thank you for spending the time with me. We had some great little talks there. And also, for those of you that I didn't get the chance to see, I'd like to apologise, and I was really hoping to meet a few more people. There was a few people I was actually hoping to bump into, and I do know you were there dotted around, but it just didn't work out that way. So hopefully next time I will be over at Fantasticon for those of you that are going to head over there in November. So yeah, once again had a great time all round. Really nice talking with everyone. So on to the content that Frontier revealed or showed us at the Elite Meet there. Now some of this has actually been leaked already onto the internet. One of those is the cleaned up footage that was revealed initially at Gamescom. And this shows a very short segment of what appears to be an alien ship after panning past some human shipwrecks. It's still very difficult to get a clear idea of what the alien ship actually looks like, and it's also quite difficult to get a true sense of the scale, but it does appear to be of same origin as the alien shipwreck found on one of the planetary surfaces. Commander Seer HW, and I apologise if I pronounced your name wrong there, has posted some mock-up 3D models of what he feels the alien ship actually looks like over on Reddit, and you can see some of these in the background here. These mock-ups do look quite substantially different to the mock-ups posted by Turgeon back a few weeks ago. But here on these latest mock-ups, the creator has tried to align them to the cleaned up footage revealed at the Elite Meet, and to be honest, the alignments do seem to work out pretty darn well. So who knows, maybe this is pretty close to what the alien ships actually look like. But I don't think it's going to be too long until we actually get to see these in the game now. So that takes us on to some of the other content that's in the game but people haven't actually seen yet. One of those again is leaked from the Elite Meet, but there's a few others that haven't been shown just yet. Now do keep in mind that if you prefer to wait to see these yourself or wait to hear about them, then you might want to skip past the next few minutes of the videos, because I'm going to talk about content that's in the game but hasn't been seen just yet. Now one of these is what appears to be structures down on the surface of an airless world. There was some footage leaked out of the Elite Meet on this, and also Commander Fruity Milk has posted a still image to Reddit of this. So do take a look at that. You can see it here in the background actually, but I'll link to the Reddit thread in the video description below. Now my first thought when I saw this up on the screen was the missing or colonies from the generation ships. No idea if that's actually what it is, but to me at least, these don't look too alien in origin. They look very ancient, and they also look as though they were constructed with relatively low resources available. So my thought on these is that perhaps they are colonies from the last generation ship sent out, and maybe they just happened to find a world here that they were able to colonize, even though a somewhat inhospitable one. And talking of generation ships, Frontier were asked whether or not generation ships are actually in the game yet. Now to this, the panel spent a good few minutes discussing as to how they were going to answer the question, and ultimately they decided to answer with just a few words, and that answer was not yet. But it was very clear to see by the way they were quite enthusiastically discussing this answer among themselves that generation ships are not too far away. So for those of you that are not in the know, generation ships are massive transport ships that were sent out years before the ability of faster than light transport, and they were sent out into the depths of space with many hundreds of people on board, sometimes perhaps many thousands of people on board, and they would take hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, to arrive at their destination. And in the intervening years, many generations would live out aboard their lives upon these ships, with perhaps the distant potential that their far ancestors, or far descendants rather, would perhaps get to colonize a planet. These huge ships are still travelling through the galaxy on their slower-than-light engines, and it looks like sooner or later they're going to make an appearance in the game. Now, in the Beta 2.2 patch notes, there was a reference, and a lot of people have commented on, about the addition of mysterious objects as well as organic entities. Now, we don't know exactly what these are, but it seems that there are now quite a lot of things out there, both within the bubble as well as outside of the human-inhabited bubble, that explorers and other people can go out and discover. I had a little talk with Sandro Samarco about all of this, and he was very willing to confirm that there are indeed plenty of things out there to go and find. But how we're going to find them and when we're going to find them is an entirely different matter. But over on the projector, where they were showing the structures we were talking about a moment ago, they did happen to reveal one more thing, and this was tree-like structures. And yes, very strange, trees on inhospitable, airless worlds. But who knows how these things form? They could be crystalline or something else in nature. And in fact, they did look very much like that. If you could, for a moment, envision a tree without any leaves, a tree in winter, with its somewhat sparse branches spreading out, and on the end of these are some bulb-like objects, not too dissimilar to the bulb-type elements that could be seen on the barnacles. And what we saw was an SRV driving through a little, what could be described as a wooded area, containing a whole bunch of these tree-like elements. Could these be the organic entities that the patch notes describes? Well, possibly, but personally I don't think they were. These looked a little bit more crystalline in nature, and so, well, I guess ultimately we'll have to wait and see. But I suspect it's just one of many other things that have been added into the game. Another of which is geysers. And I know many players have been looking long and hard to try and find themselves a few geysers, with a lot of people finding some of the smaller ones, and one in particular, standout one, was posted here. This is from Hopringil, and it does show a rather spectacular looking geyser. Now, again, at the Elite Meet we saw something else, and this was a crater-like area containing about a dozen, maybe as many as 20 geysers, probably a little bit larger than the one here. And we also saw an SRV driving into it, and this caused the SRV to be launched up very, very high into the air, almost looking like it was going to fly off into space at one point. So definitely some fantastic things in there already to be discovered in patch 2.2. And personally, as an explorer, I find this tremendously exciting. One final thing then I want to talk about for the Elite Meet was Frontier showing us progression on the Commander Creator. Now this is the update that's going to be added into the next patch, patch 2.3, which we don't know when that's actually going to arrive, and it will allow us to create custom-made avatars for the commander that we play. Now we didn't see this in action, all we saw was a few stills, but it looked very impressive. What we saw was a picture of Ed Lewis, a photo of him, on the left hand side of the screen, and on the right hand was a in-game recreation of Ed Lewis. And I've got to admit, it was a very, very close representation of him. And they went on to show a few variants, including him being aged, as well as him with various hairstyles. So it looks like the creator is going to be very flexible and very powerful. And it's certainly something I'm looking forward to getting my hands on. Oh, and actually there was one other thing I want to talk about from the Elite Meet. This was part of the QA session, and as always, once again, someone asked about ship naming. Now previously, Frontier have always said, yes, that's a nice idea, it's on the list, or it's something we'd like to do at some point. Now their answer this time was quite different, and for those of you that have seen their Q&A panels before, you'll know exactly what this will mean. Michael Brooks basically answered, no comment. So for those of you that have heard this sort of answer before, you'll know what it usually means is that the feature is well into development and probably not too far away. So yep, ship naming is something I personally want, and something I know a lot of other people want. Might well be in the game much sooner than we was expecting. Now over the previous week or so, there has been a whole lot of information and a whole lot of videos posted to YouTube for Beta 2.2. I've posted quite a lot of them myself. I know a lot of you will have watched those, and I certainly plan on releasing a lot more this week, so do keep an eye out for all of those. But if that's not enough for you, and if you want to check out more videos, there's been a whole load of YouTubers posting a great Beta 2.2 content. So I'll list those in the video description below, but in no particular order. Some of these are from Dr. Kai, Chaos Wolf, as well as Cornelius. So if you've got a bit of a desire to see some more Beta 2.2 content, do check out their videos. That then brings us to an end of this episode of 3302. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.